Now, as always with any sponsored video, we do have a couple of copies to give away. I'm actually blown away by the quality of this update. This is indie developers at their finest. So just let me know down in the comments what you think of it. A thanks to Sabotage Studios for sponsoring this video. So, Sea of Stars, Throes of the Watchmaker, what's it all about? Well, my name's Mark Walker, welcome back to Switch Up. Now let's find out. Now, first things first, I do want to say that because of the nature of getting footage early, a lot of the footage you're going to see is from my Steam Deck. The Switch version doesn't go live until launch day. I have seen some of the footage for that and it is running absolutely flawlessly, like it has done in the past, but I just wanted to make that clear because, well, you should be upfront with these things. Sea of Stars was one of my favourite games when it first released, and a testament to just what indie developers could do with the right team and passion behind them. Previously, I covered a huge update they released in November of 2024, which was known as the Dawn of the Equinox update, which introduced local co-op play, a 2.0 version of the combat system, which featured what are known as master locks. It had a revised and improved prologue and a number of other quality of life improvements, but the team didn't settle there. Throes of the Watchmaker is a DLC set after the main game. It's around 8 to 10 hours of extra content, and I believe it was originally a stretch goal for the Kickstarter campaign. And believe it or not, it's actually completely free if you own the original, which is absolutely insane. As you're about to find out, this doesn't even feel like a DLC. It feels like Sabotage Studios are just flexing in every department, from the visuals to the soundtrack. This is a stunning experience, and I don't say it lightly. Once you've completed the base game, you'll have access to the DLC. You'll recognize protagonists Zale and Valere, but interestingly, you get brand new roles. Zale takes on the role of a juggler, with Valere being an acrobat. It all kind of makes sense why that's the case, which from the title about a watchmaker may initially be a little confusing. Now, essentially, the Watchmaker has created their masterpiece. It's their masterwork, but sadly, it gets corrupted and a malevolent force clones the Watchmaker and takes over this clock-like world with the intention of gradually gaining power and eventually breaking out of these confines. That's where you come in, offering your services to the Watchmaker, and you're joined by Artie, a brand new playable character, a laser wielding robot who is surprisingly well written actually. I had a good couple of chuckles from this one, and they have a great moveset as well, as we'll go into. So the premise is set up, you're ready to enter this miniature world, and you're shrunk down, entering the clockwork mechanisms where you're greeted with the cursed carnival. And that's where the skills of your two new protagonists, or I should say your existing protagonists with their new skills, they make a lot of sense. The DLC has a twisted circus theme to it. Not all of the inhabitants are evil either. It's a really clever idea. There's a town within it called Horloge, and the inhabitants are all circus performers, essentially held captive by those corrupt forces. Now, as soon as you arrive, things take a bit of a nasty turn. Both of your characters are stripped of all their existing powers, a very convenient but useful way of upgrading them, or at least changing them into these new classes. So Zale then, as a juggler, has a range of new agility-based attacks. Once again, your attacks revolve around you employing your own timing, so it is that active turn-based combat where the button push at the right moment will give you a bonus in damage, and likewise pressing when you're defending at the right moment will block a lot of that incoming harm. Valere is an acrobat. This has a real focus and emphasis on balance and precision, but also some really nice aerial movement. One of her new attacks has you dodging these harmful lasers, which will then do damage to the enemy, but you need to stay upright for the blue ones, which will heal your team. It's a very powerful move. But I think it's the robot who once again steals the show. Artie has what amounts to a trampoline, and he bounces bombs off of them, with each concurrent bounce gaining damage. And it's just a lot of fun. I really do enjoy active turn-based combat. Now, just as before, you have a variety of accessibility options. If your timing isn't the greatest, mine isn't, you can activate essentially like a firework or flare that goes off above your character when you've timed it correctly. There are a number of other tweaks that you can do, like having your health regenerate after each fight. It just allows you to tweak the experience to whatever it is that you enjoy the most. And the thing with this one is it really does have a very Zelda-like feel to it, almost like there are dungeons that you go into. And well, that's exactly what happens. Now, although you're shrunk down initially, you'll come across various different mechanisms that will need to be restarted. You'll shrink even further into those. And this is where we're hit with some of the best puzzles that Sabotage Studios have ever created. They tie into the overarching narrative as well, and I don't want to spoil some of them because they really are quite entertaining, but the sense of scale is done better here than I've seen it in any of their previous work. It really is excellent. The puzzles, from a design standpoint, they toe that line between difficult head-scratching moments and the frequent eureka feeling you get when a game is well designed and makes you feel like you're intelligent. It sounds easy enough, but it really is not an easy thing to do. There are so many where they just go over the top, it's too obscure, and it doesn't make any sense. That's not the case here. One thing that the previous Sea of Star release did have was an emphasis on environmental movement, quite unusual for this genre, and that carries over as well. You'll be walking across tight ropes, pushing blocks around, using jump pads, and very often a large chunk of your time will actually be figuring out environmental, almost puzzle platform sections. I didn't actually realize the extent of the DLC until I started it, and I wasn't kidding at the start when I said it just feels like a big flex. Like, the visual quality, the artwork here is second to none in my opinion as far as pixel art goes. There isn't a single scene or area where it looks like they just copied an asset or just rushed through it. You can clearly see they spent years making this DLC, and the fact that they've done it for free, yeah, fair play. There are a number of bosses in here as well. They range from aggressive trains to some clockwork bullies and Sea of Stars version of Tweedledee and Tweedledum, well, at least the evil version. As well as the boss fights, you've also got the mini games, some of which were in the previous, but quite a few which you'll have never seen before. Remember, you can do this whole thing as well with a co-op partner. There have been a few times when my kids have come up, started watching, and I can just hand them a controller and they join in. It really does add something to this type of experience to be able to do it with a friend, partner, or one of your kids. How that works in combat is you kind of have to work together to time those active presses. It adds a nice little collaborative element to it. So gameplay wise then, yeah, you got about 10 hours of this, loads of hidden secrets, lots of Easter eggs as well. There's quite a bit in there for the fans of the original that would be references that only you'd understand, but there's also a lot that references pop culture games, past classics. I can tell you that if this wasn't a free DLC and it was released as a paid expansion or even a standalone 10-hour game, I'd still be recommending it. The gameplay and controls are fantastic, and if you do own the game, the DLC, it came out on the 20th, you can download it free of charge and just enjoy that quality. Now, I do want to talk about the visuals specifically as well as the audio. I have mentioned it already, but just look at the quality of the artwork. It's outstanding. Everything from new animations for the combat to this intricately designed miniature world. It actually gave me quite a few Chrono Trigger moments. Like, there were scenes in it that I remember playing that, and I actually only played that a year or two back, but I was still blown away by some of the areas, thinking, wow, this is like decades old. It looks incredible. There are scenes in this that I think are up to the same quality in terms of just being iconic. They look great. One in particular is when you first go to the main castle area, like the palace. The choice of colors and just the overall look of it is outrageous. It's just absolutely incredible. Then you've got the soundtrack. Now, the original game, you might remember, it had contributions from Mitsuda, who is very well renowned for his work on Chrono Trigger. The DLC has an original soundtrack that was composed by Eric W. Brown, with, once again, I believe Mitsuda taking a role and contributing towards it. I will let the soundtrack speak for itself. Here's some of the music. So when it comes to value then, I can't really say much. It's completely free. This isn't a review because it's a sponsored video, but I think you can guess what the score would be if this was a full-on review. 10 hours of basically the developers showing their passion for their own game. I do think that some companies would have tried to charge for it even if they'd said it was a stretch goal. It doesn't get much better than this when it comes to indie gaming. Go download it. You can download it on any of the platforms that Sea of Stars is available on. That's Steam Deck, Switch, PlayStation, Xbox. If you want to buy the game on Steam, there'll be a link down below as well, and Switch as well. I'll pop links down there. A huge thanks to Sabotage Studios for sponsoring this one, but let's be realistic, I would have been covering this one regardless. Absolutely great. I may even have to do a proper review of it just so that we can have the score on the channel, because yeah, when a company actually puts in this much effort, I think it deserves it. Let me know down in the comments, are you interested in this one? Are you as impressed as I am? You can probably tell, I mean, you've been around the channel long enough, you know when, I don't know, when I'm genuinely excited about something. And yeah, this is one of those times for sure. Thank you to our Patreons, our members, all of you that enjoy the content. And as always, for all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers, guys. See ya!